What's up guys, Sal here. So a few months ago, Huawei did the unthinkable and overtook Samsung for the #1 spot in smartphone rankings. They sold 55.8 million smartphones in Q2 of this year, whereas Samsung sold 53.7 million smartphones in the same time frame, thereby claiming the title of the world's biggest smartphone manufacturer. A few months ago, no one saw this coming, and rightfully so. Samsung was far ahead of Huawei at that point, but due to the pandemic, all of Samsung's biggest markets went into the lockdown, whereas Huawei's biggest market, China, was open and the economy was normal there. So Huawei managed to surpass Samsung only because of the pandemic. Now, the world economy is getting back to normal, and a few months ago I said it was only a matter of time before Samsung would regain the top spot from Huawei, and that's exactly happened. We have fresh data for the month of August which show that Samsung not only took the #1 spot back, but also widened the gap with Huawei considerably. According to Counterpoint Research, Samsung accounted for 22% of the total global smartphone market share last month. This figure beats Huawei's 16% market share during the same period. 6% gap between the two consumer electronic makers marks the largest since February 2020, when China's smartphone market was severely hit by COVID lockdowns. Apple came in third with a market share of 12%, while the Chinese brand Xiaomi was in the fourth position with a market share of 11% in August. Samsung has been expanding its presence in India, which is the world's second biggest smartphone market, by the way. There is a border clash between India and China, so there is a growing anti-China sentiment in India, and Samsung is taking full advantage of that and has seen its market share increase in the country for the last couple of months. But for Huawei, as Ming-Chi Kuo, a famous analyst, says, that it's gonna be a steep downhill from here onwards. As you know, they are not only banned from Android, but they cannot make smartphone chipsets either, nor they can outsource it from other companies such as Qualcomm or even Samsung. Because even some of these companies are not American, such as Samsung or MediaTek, they still use American-made technology and they have to follow the executive orders from the United States government. The situation is so bad for Huawei right now that Ming-Chi Kuo believes that Huawei could even exit the smartphone market next year due to not getting any chips to make smartphones. And if they are lucky and manage to get the chipsets from somewhere, their market share is expected to decline so much that they'll not even make it to the top 10 smartphone maker rankings next year, which is a shame. Like I've said in the past, Huawei has been spending billions in research and development for the past few years and has been innovating lately in the smartphone world. They've been pushing Samsung and Apple to do the same by creating a competitive environment. Features such as reverse wireless charging, night mode, periscope zoom were first seen on Huawei's devices, so them getting out like this will only result in less competition, and that's not good for us, the consumers. Let's hope Samsung doesn't stop innovating, because Huawei may no longer be there to keep them pushing. I don't think Samsung cares about Apple because they've stopped innovating a while ago. All they just do now is copy existing technologies from other companies and call it innovation. Of course, with that being said, let me know what you think about this down in the comments. And as always, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.